Hi friends, this is Lean Reds, where big ideas meet practical takeaways, all distilled from great books. Are you ready to take back control of your mind and live more, think less? Psychologist Pia Callesen introduces powerful tools that can stop overthinking, silence worry, and help you live a fuller life. Want to explore more? Check out the link to the book down in the description. All right, let's begin. Live More, Think Less by Dr. Pia Callesen offers a breakthrough approach to overcoming depression. Instead of focusing on the content of negative thoughts, it proposes a different solution. Metacognitive Therapy (MCT). Callesen argues that the issue isn't what we think, but how we respond to our thoughts. It is the habits of worry and relentless rumination that lie at the root of depression. Drawing on scientific research and real-world examples, the book not only explains why we get stuck, but also provides practical tools for change. It shows you how to regain control of your attention, stop overthinking, and start living more fully. Dr. Pia Callesen is a Danish clinical psychologist and leading therapist, recognized as a pioneer in applying and developing metacognitive therapy (MCT). She earned her PhD at the University of Manchester in the UK, considered the cradle of MCT under its founder, Professor Adrian Wells, with extensive experience treating anxiety and depression. She has established and runs specialized MCT clinics in Denmark, helping thousands of people find peace of mind. Imagine a typical morning. Sunlight slips through the window, yet in your mind a storm still simmers. Yesterday's worries, like an uninvited guest, have returned and settled in. Before your eyes are fully open, your brain is already worrying. Why did that happen? I should have done it differently. What if things get worse? You turn the problem over and over, dissecting every detail, analyzing every word, convinced that if you think long and hard enough, you'll find an answer, a solution, a bit of peace. But the peace never comes. The more you think, the more exhausted, anxious, and hopeless you feel. Does this loop sound familiar? For decades, we have been told a familiar story about depression, that it is a chemical imbalance in the brain, a system error to be corrected with medication, that our brains, in some sense, are broken. But what if that story isn't the whole truth? What if the real adversary isn't an invisible chemical, but our relationship with our own stream of thoughts? Breakthrough research on metacognitive therapy reveals a striking truth. The core difference between someone with depression and someone without it does not lie in genes or brain structure, but in learned mental habits. Depression isn't simply something that happens to you. It is something you unwittingly do through the ways you choose to deal with negative thoughts and feelings. This book doesn't promise miracles or a shortcut to forced positivity. Instead, it hands you a map and a compass. The map lets you see the architecture of a mind imprisoned by itself. The compass consists of practical, scientifically grounded techniques to find your way out. By learning to recognize toxic rumination patterns and deliberately redirect your attention, you can transform your relationship with your mind. You will learn to let thoughts come and go like clouds crossing the sky, rather than chasing and wrestling with each one. If depression isn't a mysterious illness that descends from nowhere, but a state produced by our own thinking habits, what does that imply? It means we have the power to change. To understand that power, we first need a map of how the mind works. Imagine your mind as a 3-story building. This framework, known as the Self-Regulatory Executive Function (SREF) model, helps us decode the architecture of our thinking. Ground floor, the mind's endless stream. This is the lowest level, where everything runs automatically, like a river. Thoughts, images, feelings, and memories flow through your mind every second. I need to remember to buy milk. A snapshot from last year's vacation, a faint, nameless sadness, a tune that suddenly starts playing in your head. You can't control this river. You can't order it to stop flowing or to carry only crystal clear water. Here's an important truth. Having negative, odd, or disturbing thoughts is completely normal. Everyone happy or distressed has them. Second floor, the strategic level, this is where you start making choices. When a particular thought surfaces from the ground floor, say, a worry about work, what do you do with it? The second floor houses your mental strategies. You might choose to ignore it and keep working, or you might grab the thought and embark on a prolonged analysis, ruminating on what went wrong, worrying about what could happen. Opting into a specific style of thinking such as rumination or worry is a strategic act on this level. Third floor, the command center, the metacognitive level, this is the highest and most powerful level, home to your beliefs about thinking, i.e., metacognitions. These aren't thoughts about the outside world, but about your own thinking process. These beliefs operate like a director, instructing the second floor strategies. They may be positive, but often mistaken, e.g., worrying helps me prepare for the worst, or if I analyze this thoroughly enough, I'll find the solution. Such beliefs drive you to keep using worry and rumination strategies on the second floor. They can also be negative, e.g., I can't control my worrying, or these thoughts prove I'm weak. These beliefs leave you feeling helpless and stuck in the very harmful strategies that keep you down. Metacognitive Therapy (MCT) holds that depression isn't caused by the negative thoughts on the ground floor. Everyone has those. Depression occurs when we repeatedly activate problematic second floor strategies like rumination and worry, and we do so because we are governed by mistaken third floor beliefs. Put simply, when we believe the wrong things about how the mind works, we end up using the wrong tools to handle our emotions, and those wrong tools, instead of helping, dig the hole we're trying to escape even deeper. In the next chapter, we'll take a closer look at what these wrong tools are and why they backfire so disastrously. In metacognitive therapy, there are four dominant thinking strategies seen as the direct culprits behind depression and the forces that keep it alive. They are like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, spreading exhaustion, despair, and helplessness across the landscape of our minds. Together, they give rise to what is called the cognitive attentional syndrome (CAS), the true source of mental suffering. The first horseman, rumination. Rumination is more than just thinking. It is being trapped in a mental loop that never ends. Like a scratched record replaying the same mournful tune, its focus is usually the past. Why did I say that? What went wrong? If only I had done things differently. Consider the story of a young musician named Anne. After an important performance, she received a harsh review from a critic. At first, she felt disappointed and had a natural reaction. But instead of letting the feeling pass and clung to it, every day she spent hours ruminating. She replayed the performance in her mind, analyzing each off-key note and every glance from the audience. She began to doubt her talent, imagining whispers of mockery and judgment. Her thoughts became a muddy river she could not escape within weeks and was losing sleep, skipping rehearsals, and sinking deeper into depression's shadow. Her bandmate Min received a similar critique. He, too, was hurt at first, but his response was different. He allowed himself one evening of sadness, then deliberately limited how much he thought about it. He shifted his focus to preparing for the next performance, spending time with friends, and keeping up his daily routine. He didn't try to fix the past by analyzing it to death. Instead, he directed his attention toward the present and future. As a result, he avoided the downward spiral that consumed Anne. The second horseman, worry. If rumination is obsession with the past, worry is its twin and obsession with the future. Worry revolves around endless what-if scenarios and imagined disasters. What if I fail this exam? What if they don't like me? What if I get seriously ill? A little worry can be useful. It pushes us to prepare. But it becomes destructive when we spend so much energy living in catastrophic scenarios that we become paralyzed in the present. We worry about losing our jobs so much that we can't focus on working. We worry about our health so much that we're afraid to go out and live. In effect, we torture ourselves with disasters that have not happened and may never happen. The third horseman, Threat monitoring. This is the habit of constantly scanning your surroundings or even our own body for signs of danger. It is as if you turn yourself into an overzealous security guard. Someone caught in this pattern might repeatedly ask, is my heart beating too fast? Am I about to have a heart attack? Or are people looking at me? Are they judging me? They may obsessively check their own mood. Am I feeling down? Why am I so tired? I must be slipping into depression again. Paradoxically, the very act of looking for threats creates them. Focusing on your heartbeat can make it race faster. Constantly asking, am I sad? Can actually stir up sadness. It's like putting yourself under a microscope, where even the tiniest fluctuation is magnified into a looming catastrophe. The fourth horseman. Unhelpful coping strategies. This category covers all the behaviors we use to try to escape painful thoughts and feelings, but that ultimately make things worse. Thought suppression. Telling yourself don't think about it only backfires. Trying not to think of a pink elephant, and the image becomes even clearer. Suppressing negative thoughts makes them stronger and more persistent. Self-blame. Getting angry at yourself for having certain feelings. Why am I so weak? Or I shouldn't feel this way. This only adds fuel to the fire. Layering new negativity on top of the old. Avoidance. Dodging social events, phone calls, or work responsibilities out of fear they'll trigger anxiety. Avoidance brings temporary relief, but over time it shrinks your world and reinforces the belief that you cannot cope. Emotional. Numbing. Using alcohol, drugs, or overwork to block out feelings. These are short-term escapes, and when their effects fade, the buried emotions return often stronger than before. When all four horsemen charge through the mind at once, they generate CAS. You spend most of your mental energy ruminating, worrying, and scanning for threats. This leaves little room for positivity, creativity, or the simple enjoyment of the present moment. Recognizing the presence of the four horsemen is the first step in disarming them. Why do we keep using strategies like rumination and worry when they so clearly harm us? Why do we let the four horsemen run wild in our minds? The answer lies on the top floor of the mental building, our metacognitive beliefs. These are the invisible strings that control our behavior without our awareness. These beliefs form the hidden scaffolding of depression, the reason we remain trapped. Let's examine a few of the most common strings. String 1. Rumination and worry are useful. This is one of the most widespread mistaken beliefs. Many people think that endlessly analyzing a problem will eventually lead to a solution. They believe worrying about the future helps them prepare better. Take the case of Steve, a father constantly confronted with requests for money from his grown son. Each time his son called, Steve would spend hours, even days, agonizing. Am I harming him if I give him money? But what if he gets into trouble if I don't? Does this make me a bad father? He believed that thinking things through was necessary for the right decision. But what actually happened? Endless rumination left him exhausted, irritable, and unable to make firm decisions. His mood worsened, and he withdrew from social life. The breakthrough came when he realized his strategy was flawed. In therapy, he tried an experiment. Instead of ruminating all day, he allowed himself a fixed worry time, for example, from 5 to 6 p.m. outside that slot. Whenever thoughts about his son appeared, he gently set them aside and refocused on other tasks. The results were striking. By limiting his rumination, his energy returned. He felt clearer-headed and was finally able to set firm boundaries with his son calmly and decisively. He discovered that clarity doesn't come from thinking more, but from thinking less. String 2. I cannot control my thoughts. Many people feel that streams of worry or rumination just happen to them like the weather. They believe they are powerless. The thoughts just come. There's nothing I can do. This belief breeds profound helplessness. If you think you have no control, you won't even try to exercise control. You become a passive victim of your own mind. Yet, as we'll see in the next chapter, While you cannot prevent a thought from rising, you can absolutely control whether or not you engage with it. You can choose not to board the train of rumination. String 3. These thoughts reflect who I really am. This is a particularly dangerous string. Someone may think, the fact that I always worry proves I'm weak, or having dark thoughts about death means I'm a disturbed person. They identify themselves with their thoughts. Life story illustrates this. Since adolescence, he had been haunted by thoughts of death. He believed these thoughts were a core part of who he was, a deep problem requiring a cure. He spent decades wrestling with them, analyzing them, trying to heal them. He described his life as hell on earth, a state of mere existence rather than truly living. The turning point came when metacognitive therapy introduced him to a radical idea. He didn't need to care about those thoughts at all. At first, Leaf was skeptical. How can I ignore something so important? But he gave it a try. When a dark thought appeared, instead of wrestling with it, he simply acknowledged it. That thought again, and gently redirected his attention to something else. The birds outside, the warmth of a teacup in his hands. Gradually, Leaf realized he was not his thoughts. They were just passing mental events. As a result, he broke free from depression's grip. His energy returned. His self-esteem improved. Dark thoughts still visited him now and then, but they no longer ruled him. They were just passing guests, and he had the choice not to invite them in. Challenging and cutting these invisible strings is the key to liberation. Once you recognize that rumination isn't useful, that you can control your attention, and that you are not your thoughts, you reclaim the power to change. 3 tools to help you calm your mind. 1. Create a worry time. Instead of letting worry consume your whole day, give it a time slot, like 30 minutes each evening. Whenever a worry pops up during the day, acknowledge it, but tell yourself you'll deal with it later during your worry time. When 7 o'clock rolls around, sit down and worry to your heart's content. Most of the morning's worries will seem pointless, and you won't feel like addressing them. This teaches your brain that you are in control of your thinking, and most worries don't need immediate attention. 2. Attention training. This is the core exercise of metacognitive therapy. It's like weight training for your attention muscles. Find a place with multiple sounds, like a ticking clock, a fan, traffic, and birdsong. Close your eyes and pick one sound to focus on for 10 to 15 seconds. Then switch to another sound and focus on that for 10 to 15 seconds. Keep switching until you've attended to all the sounds. Practiced regularly, this strengthens your ability to direct your focus, which makes it easier to ignore negative thoughts. 3. Detached mindfulness. Thoughts are like clouds drifting across the sky. Your job is to lie back and observe them without getting entangled. When a thought arises, apply detached mindfulness. Notice it without judgment and let it go. We began with the image of someone trapped in the labyrinth of their own mind. Now, we hold the map and the keys to get out. The core lesson of this book is this: the source of prolonged sadness and worry is not negative thoughts themselves, but the excessive attention we give them. Depression is not proof that you are broken or weak. It is simply the outcome of having unknowingly practiced unhelpful mental habits. You've spent too much time ruminating on the past and worrying about the future, believing it was the way to solve problems. But just as continuously picking at a wound prevents it from healing, endlessly chewing over negative thoughts only injures the mind further. Metacognitive therapy offers us another path. It does not ask you to fight your thoughts, suppress them, or replace them with hollow positive affirmations. Instead, it invites you to take a step back. Picture again that morning from the beginning of our journey. But this time, you are equipped with new tools. When yesterday's worries resurface, you notice them. Here comes a worried thought. Instead of diving into analysis, you practice detached mindfulness. You picture it as a dark cloud drifting by. You are not the cloud, you are the vast, clear sky that holds it. You tell yourself, I'll give this worry its time at 7 o'clock tonight. Then you consciously shift your focus onto the warmth of water on your skin as you wash your face, the aroma of your coffee, or the plans for your day. You are not fighting, you are simply redirecting. Freedom does not mean you will never have another negative thought. They will still come because that is the nature of the human mind. The difference is that they no longer have power over you. They are just background noise while you are busy living your life. Just as a wound heals when left undisturbed, your mind has a remarkable capacity to heal itself. When you stop stirring it with constant rumination and worry, it naturally settles into clarity and peace. This journey takes practice and patience, but with every moment you choose to let go of a ruminative loop, with every time you successfully redirect your attention, you build a little more freedom. Be gentle with yourself, acknowledge your thoughts without judgment, and turn your focus outward to the world around you soon. You will realize you are truly living more and thinking less. So here we are, having walked through the essence of this book together. I hope it has been helpful for you. If you're interested in more books on similar themes, please share a review. You can also buy the book to experience it more clearly as well as support the author. I will leave the link in the description below for you to easily search. If you like the channel, you can press the like button, share and turn on the notification bell to receive new content. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.